There are a lot of things I should do, like everybody should do.
You never thought that anything could ever stop John.
Lesson, of course, is, you just got to watch those powders and pills.
They made us laugh, they made us cry. But behind the scenes, they were fighting a war that nobody could see. A war against addiction. Some fought cocaine, some fought alcohol, some fought pills, some fought all three. They would perform night after night, hitting their marks perfectly, delivering their lines with precision, all while battling demons that threatened to consume them. These are 25 sitcom stars who secretly struggled with addiction until the very end. Their battles were private. Their pain was hidden. Their addiction defined their lives even though the world didn't know it. 1. John Belushi. John Belushi was a comedic force on Saturday Night Live. He exploded onto screens with his physical comedy and fearless attitude. He did anything for a laugh. No limits, no boundaries. But off camera, Belushi was fighting a severe cocaine and heroin addiction that consumed him. His drug use escalated throughout the 1980s. He would perform brilliantly on set, then disappear to use. He hid his addiction from colleagues and friends. He functioned as an addict, going to work, delivering performances, then returning to drugs. His addiction spiraled out of control. In 1982, at age 33, John Belushi died from an overdose. The official cause was cocaine intoxication combined with morphine. His death exposed the extent of his hidden addiction. The man who made millions laugh had been secretly destroying himself with drugs the entire time. 2. Colin Farley was an over-the-top comedic force on Saturday Night Live. His loud energy and physical comedy made him a star. Everyone loved him. But Chris Farley was secretly battling severe depression and substance abuse. He used cocaine regularly. He drank heavily. He was insecure and desperate for approval. He used drugs to cope with his pain. His addiction grew worse throughout the 1990s. He was in and out of rehab. He lost roles because of his unreliability. He was fired from jobs, yet he continued using. He hid his addiction behind his loud persona. Nobody knew how much he was struggling. In December 1997, at age 33, Chris Farley died from an overdose. Cocaine intoxication combined with morphine. His death shocked the comedy world. The same age as Belushi, the same cause. His secret addiction had cost him his life. 3. David Cassidy. David Cassidy was a teenage superstar on The Partridge Family. Behind his success was a man struggling with addiction and bipolar disorder. Cassidy battled substance abuse throughout his adult life. He used cocaine. He drank heavily. He was arrested multiple times for DUI and drug possession. His addiction affected his career and his relationships. He struggled to maintain stability. He went through periods of sobriety followed by relapses. He checked into rehab multiple times. Each time he would relapse, his addiction was relentless. For decades, Cassidy fought this battle in relative silence. He worked when he could. He performed when he was able. But his addiction was always there, lurking, pulling him down. In November 2017, at age 67, David Cassidy died from liver and kidney failure related to chronic alcoholism. Decades-long battle with addiction finally caught up with him. 4. Kelsey Grammer. Frasier Crane on Cheers and later on his own show, Frasier. He won multiple Emmy Awards for his performance. He was respected and admired. But while playing a sophisticated character, Grammer was secretly battling cocaine addiction. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, he used cocaine regularly. He was arrested multiple times for drug possession. He went to rehab multiple times. He got into car accidents while driving under the influence. He went to jail, yet he continued using. His addiction happened while he was at the height of his fame. He performed brilliantly while fighting his disease. He won awards while struggling with substance abuse. His addiction was well hidden from the public. Only years later did the full extent of his struggle become known. Eventually, Grammer got sober and rebuilt his life. But for over a decade, as a cocaine addict, performing one of television's most respected roles. 5. Tim Allen became famous as the dad on Home Improvement. But before that fame, Allen was struggling with cocaine addiction in 1978. At an airport, Allen was caught with nearly 9 ounces of cocaine. He faced a potential life sentence. Instead of going to prison, he cooperated with authorities and gave up his suppliers. He served 2 years in federal prison. After his release, Allen struggled to stay clean. He was dealing with addiction even as his career took off. Home improvement launched in the late 1980s. Allen was still managing his past demons. He had been a cocaine addict. He had been to prison. He hid this from the public while building a career as America's favorite dad. His secret past could have destroyed him if exposed. He kept his addiction history hidden while performing night after night on television. Eventually, Allen got sober and built a successful career. But his hidden past demonstrated how much he had to overcome. Andy Dick played Matthew Brock on news radio. He was funny and unpredictable. His comedic style was wild. But off camera, Dick was battling serious drug addiction. He used cocaine. He used other drugs. He struggled with alcohol. His addiction affected his behavior. He was arrested multiple times. He checked into rehab multiple times. He relapsed repeatedly. His addiction was a constant battle. He would perform on set, then struggle with cravings. He hid the extent of his addiction from colleagues. He functioned as an addict, going to work, then using. His addiction escalated over time. He lost work because of his behavior and unreliability. His addiction haunted him throughout his career. Dick eventually struggled to find consistent work. His addiction had cost him opportunities and relationships. Even years later, his addiction continued to affect his life. He fought this battle for decades, managing to stay alive, while many of his peers did not. 7. Danny Bonaduce became famous as Danny Partridge. On The Partridge Family, he was cute, he was talented, he had a successful childhood career. But as he grew older, Bonaduce battled serious drug addiction. He used cocaine. He used other drugs. He drank heavily. His addiction began in his teenage years and followed him into adulthood. He struggled to separate himself from his childhood role. He faced rejection from Hollywood. He turned to drugs to cope. His addiction spiraled out of control. He was homeless at times. He was arrested multiple times. He went to rehab. He relapsed. His life became defined by his addiction. For years, Bonaduce fought this battle privately. He attempted comebacks. He tried to rebuild his life. But his addiction kept pulling him back. Eventually, Bonaduce got clean and became a radio personality. He became an advocate for addiction recovery. But for decades, he had been a slave to drugs while trying to maintain his career. 8. Leif Garrett was a teenage heartthrob in the late 1970s. He was good-looking. He was talented. He was an idol for millions of young people. But Garrett's life was marked by trauma and addiction. In 1979, while driving under the influence, he caused an accident that paralyzed his best friend. The guilt and trauma from that accident haunted him. He spiraled into cocaine addiction as a way to cope. His drug use escalated over the years. He was arrested multiple times for cocaine possession. He struggled with depression related to the accident. His addiction and depression fed each other. He spent periods homeless. He struggled to maintain any stability. For decades, Garrett fought this private battle. He attempted recovery. He relapsed. His addiction consumed him. He became a cautionary tale about early fame and the dangers of untreated trauma. While he is still alive, his battle with cocaine addiction has lasted over 40 years. Gary Busey appeared in various television shows and films, but behind the scenes, he was battling serious cocaine addiction. His drug use was intense. He became addicted to the lifestyle that came with cocaine use. His addiction affected his mental health. He was arrested for drug possession. He went to rehab. He struggled to stay clean. His addiction and the damage it caused affected his behavior and his personality. He had a motorcycle accident in 1988 that caused permanent brain damage. Some believe his addiction and the accident were related. His behavior became increasingly erratic. His addiction continued even after his recovery attempts. Gary Busey has spent decades battling addiction and mental health issues. His career has been affected by his addiction. His relationships have been destroyed by it. He has spoken about his struggles, but for many years he fought his addiction in silence. 10. Richard Pryor was one of the greatest comedians of all time. He appeared on television and in films. His comedy was revolutionary. He was brilliant. But Pryor was battling severe cocaine addiction. His addiction was intense. He used cocaine heavily. His addiction affected his health. In 1980, Pryor set himself on fire while using freebase cocaine. He suffered severe burns. He survived, but the incident revealed the extent of his addiction. After recovering, Pryor continued using cocaine. His addiction persisted for years. He eventually got sober, but his health was permanently damaged by his years of cocaine use and the burn injury. His addiction had nearly killed him multiple times. He spent decades fighting this disease. Pryor died in 2005 at age 65 from a heart attack. Years of cocaine abuse had taken a severe toll on his health. 11. Matthew Perry footage search https://youtube.com/fraterts. Search Matthew plus Perry plus friends, Chandler, alcohol, addiction plus substances. Recovery Matthew Perry played Chandler Bing on Friends, one of the most popular sitcoms of all time. He was beloved. He made us laugh for 10 years. But Perry was secretly battling addiction to alcohol and other substances. His addiction began early in his career. He used alcohol heavily. He used prescription painkillers. He struggled with his demons while performing on one of the biggest shows on television. His addiction affected his health. He went to rehab multiple times. He relapsed multiple times. He was determined to get sober. In his autobiography, Perry detailed his struggles with addiction. He revealed that his addiction had nearly cost him his life. He spent millions trying to get clean. He worked hard to maintain sobriety. He became an advocate for addiction recovery. But for many years, Perry had hidden his addiction while performing at the highest level of television. 12. Robert Downey Jr. footage search https://www.youtube.com search queer Robert plus Downey plus JR cocaine heroin addictions prison plus iron plus man recovery. Robert Downey Jr. had early success in Hollywood, but as he got older, he battled serious drug addiction. He used cocaine. He used heroin. He was arrested multiple times for drug possession. He went to rehab multiple times. He relapsed repeatedly. His addiction cost him opportunities. He was fired from roles. He lost jobs because of his behavior. By the late 1990s, his career was in ruins. He was in and out of prison. His addiction had consumed his life. Everything seemed hopeless. But Downey Jr. fought hard to get clean. He went through a comprehensive rehab program. He worked to rebuild his life, got sober, and stayed sober. His comeback was remarkable. He became a major film star playing Tony Stark in Iron Man. His journey from addiction to recovery inspired millions. But for years he had been a slave to cocaine and heroin. 13. Charlie Sheen footage search https://youtube.com search Charlie Sheen, cocaine's addiction 2 plus half plus men, substance plus abuse. Charlie Sheen was the star of 2 1/2 Men, one of the most popular sitcoms of the 2000s. He was paid millions per episode. He was at the height of his career, but Sheen was secretly battling cocaine addiction. His drug use was intense. He was using heavily. His addiction affected his behavior. He was arrested multiple times. He went to rehab. He relapsed. His addiction spiraled publicly. In 2011, his behavior became increasingly erratic. He was fired from 2 1/2 Men. His public meltdown exposed his struggle with addiction. He checked into rehab. He talked about his recovery. But the extent of his drug problem had been hidden for years. He had been battling cocaine addiction while being one of the highest paid television actors. His addiction had cost him his biggest role. He eventually attempted recovery. His battle with addiction defined the end of his most famous television career. If these stories about addiction are hitting hard, if you see yourself or someone you love in these struggles, drop a 1 in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell for more videos about the hidden battles of entertainment's biggest stars. Your support helps us keep telling these stories that matter. 14. Nick Colasanto footage search https://www.youtube.com Druids. Search Nick Colasanto, Cheers coach, alcohol plus addiction heart.disease. Nick Colasanto played coach on Cheers. He was the dim-witted but lovable bartender. He was beloved by audiences, but Colasanto had a long history of alcohol addiction. His drinking had damaged his health. He had heart disease exacerbated by his years of alcohol abuse. When Cheers began filming, Colasanto was still battling his addiction. He had periods of sobriety, but struggled with relapse. His addiction affected his performance on set. During the third season of Cheers, his health declined rapidly. He had difficulty remembering his lines. The writers had to adjust scenes to accommodate his condition. His addiction and his poor health were secrets kept from the public. Audiences did not know about his struggles. Colasanto died in 1985 at age 61. Decades of alcohol addiction had destroyed his health and cost him his life. 15. Red Fox footage search, https://wyoutube.com results. Search Red Fox Sanford, Son Alcohol Plus Addiction, Health Plus Problems, Death. Red Fox was a comedy legend on Sanford and Son. He was hilarious. He was beloved. But Fox had a long history of alcohol addiction. His drinking had severe consequences on his health. He developed heart problems related to his alcohol abuse. He struggled with his addiction for decades. His drinking affected his career at various points. He had periods where he could not work due to his drinking. He went through periods of sobriety, followed by relapses. His addiction was a constant battle throughout his life. When he was starring on The Royal Family in 1991, his health was already compromised by his years of drinking. His addiction had weakened his heart. He died suddenly on set from a heart attack. His decades of alcohol addiction had finally killed him. He was 68 years old. 16. Richard Mulligan footage. ://www.com. Search Richard Mulligan empty nest alcohol plus addiction plus depression cancer Richard. Mulligan appeared on Empty Nest and other television shows. He was a talented actor, but Mulligan battled alcohol addiction throughout much of his life. His drinking affected his career and his relationships. He struggled with depression related to his addiction. His alcohol abuse took a toll on his physical health. He had failed relationships due to his drinking. He went through periods trying to manage his addiction. He attempted recovery, but struggled. His addiction affected his work. He had periods where he could not get roles due to his behavior and unreliability. By the late 1990s, he was diagnosed with cancer. His years of alcohol abuse had weakened his body. He was unable to fight off the disease. He died in 2000 at age 67. His decades-long battle with alcohol addiction had contributed to his health problems and his death. 17. Aaron Moran footage search, https://w youtube.com. Search Aaron Moran, Happy Plus Days, Joni Cunningham, Alcohol Plus Addictions Health. Aaron Moran was Joni Cunningham on Happy Days, one of the most popular sitcoms of the 1970s and 1980s. She was beloved. She was the wholesome girl next door. But after Happy Days ended, Moran struggled with alcohol addiction. She had trouble finding meaningful work after the show. She fell into depression. She turned to alcohol to cope. Her addiction escalated over the years. She struggled to maintain relationships. She faced financial difficulties. Her addiction consumed her life. She attempted recovery but struggled. She went to rehab. She relapsed. For decades, Moran battled her addiction privately. Few people knew about her struggles. She appeared on reality television and in small roles, but her addiction affected everything. In 2017, at age 56, Aaron Moran died. Her years of alcohol addiction had taken a severe toll on her health and her life. 18. Willie Ames footage search, https://www.youtube.com ruse. Search QWillie. Canamsas plus enough, Decocaine plus, Alcohol plus addiction, Recovery Willie. Was on 8 is Enough and other television shows. He was talented and handsome. But Ames battled serious drug and alcohol addiction. He used cocaine. He drank heavily. His addiction affected his career. He lost work because of his behavior. He was unreliable. He was difficult to work with. His addiction got worse over time. He hit rock bottom. He was homeless at times. He faced legal problems. He went to rehab multiple times. He struggled to stay clean. His addiction seemed like it would destroy him. But eventually, Ames got serious about recovery. He went into a comprehensive treatment program. He worked hard to rebuild his life and stay sober. He became an advocate for addiction recovery. But for many years, he had battled cocaine and alcohol addiction that nearly destroyed him completely. 19. Brett Butler footage search. https://www. Fotcons. Search plus Butler's Grace Under Fire. Cocaine and alk plot addiction plus struggles. Brett Butler starred in Grace Under Fire, a popular 1990s sitcom about a strong woman dealing with life's challenges. But Butler was secretly battling serious addiction. She struggled with cocaine addiction. She drank heavily. Her addiction affected her work on the show. She had difficulty remembering lines. She was unreliable on set. Her behavior became increasingly erratic. She was fired from the show because of her addiction and the problems it caused. Public did not fully know about the extent of her addiction at the time. Her addiction had hidden beneath her successful television career. After being fired, Butler went to rehab. She worked to recover from her addiction. She spoke publicly about her struggles. She became an advocate for addiction recovery, but her addiction had cost her the biggest role of her career. 20. Dana Plato footage search. https youtube.com Rodots. Search Donups Plato different strokes plus drug addiction pills overdose death. Dana Plato was on Different Strokes as a child star. She made millions while working on the show. But after the show ended, Plato struggled with serious drug addiction. She used cocaine. She used pills. She drank heavily. Her addiction spiraled out of control. She lost her money. She lost her career. She lost her home. She lived in a trailer park in Oklahoma, far from the Hollywood success she once knew. Her addiction consumed her. She attempted recovery multiple times, but relapsed. Her life became defined by her addiction. She was isolated and struggling. In 1999, Dana Plato died from an overdose at age 34. Her drug addiction had destroyed her life and cost her everything. She had gone from being a millionaire child star to dying alone from an overdose. Corey Haim footage search. https://www.youtube.com Vadrits. Search Corey Haim, drug addiction, cocaine, pills, death, 2010. Corey Haim was a child star who appeared on various television shows. He struggled with drug addiction from a young age. He used cocaine. He used pills. His addiction began early in his career. It affected his work and his ability to find roles. His addiction spiraled out of control. He faced legal problems. He was arrested multiple times for drug possession. He went to rehab. He relapsed. For decades, he battled his addiction publicly and privately. He lost years of his life to drugs. He faced health problems from his addiction. His addiction defined his life after childhood fame. In 2010, at age 38, Corey Haim died from an accidental overdose of prescription medications. His addiction, which had started when he was young, had finally killed him. 22. Dustin Diamond footage, /www.youtube.com Roots. Search Qui plus Diamond, saved, Bell, methamphetamine addiction struggles, cancer. Dustin Diamond played Screech on Saved by the Bell. He was the nerdy sidekick. He played that role for 13 years. Search https://www.youtube. Search Feldman. Drug addiction, heroin, cocaine abuse, survival. Corey Feldman was a child star who appeared on various television shows. He struggled with serious drug addiction. He used heroin. He used cocaine. His addiction began early in his career when he was still a child actor. It affected his ability to find work. His addiction spiraled over the years. He faced legal problems. He was arrested multiple times. His addiction nearly destroyed him. He spent periods homeless. He struggled to maintain any stability. For decades, Feldman battled his addiction. He went to rehab multiple times. He struggled to stay clean. His addiction affected all his relationships. Unlike some of his peers, Feldman survived his addiction. He got clean and has worked to rebuild his life. But for many decades, he was a slave to heroin and cocaine addiction that nearly killed him. 24. Gary Coleman Footit, Solon/wyoutube.com writes, search Gary Coleman. Different, strokes, depression, substance abuse, suicide attempt. Gary Coleman was the star of Different Strokes. He became famous as a child. He was beloved. But after the show ended, Coleman struggled with depression and substance abuse. He battled various addictions. He struggled with pills. He drank heavily. His addiction and depression fed each other. He faced legal problems. He was arrested multiple times. He attempted suicide multiple times. His addiction defined his life after childhood fame. He tried to rebuild his career, but his addiction and mental health issues made it nearly possible. He worked as a security guard just to survive. He was homeless at times. His addiction cost him everything. In 2010, at age 42, Gary Coleman died from a stroke. His decades of struggle with depression and addiction had taken a severe toll on his health. 25. TT Jones / www.youtube.com. Search Qua. Anissa Jones, family, affair, drugs, addiction, heroin's overdose, death Anissa. Jones played Buffy on Family Affair. She was adorable. She was America's sweetheart. She had a successful child acting career. But Anissa Jones struggled with serious drug addiction. She used heroin. She used various drugs. Her addiction began after Family Affair ended, and she struggled to find meaningful work. She faced rejection from Hollywood as she grew older. She turned to drugs to cope. Her addiction spiraled out of control. She was young, but her addiction was severe. She struggled to maintain any stability. She was isolated and alone. In 1976, at age 18, Anissa Jones died from a drug overdose. Her addiction, which had developed in her late teens, had killed her. She died tragically young, a victim of addiction that had consumed her after childhood fame. These 25 sitcom stars share a common enemy: addiction. Some battled cocaine, some battled heroin, some battled alcohol, some battled all three. Their battles were private. Their pain was hidden. Their addictions defined their lives even though the world did not fully understand what they were going through. They performed brilliantly while fighting demons. They made us laugh while struggling to survive. They hit their marks perfectly while dealing with cravings that threatened to consume them. Some eventually got sober. Some did not. Some died from their addictions. Some survived, but their lives were forever changed. The common thread is that they all fought this battle largely in silence. The entertainment industry put pressure on them to succeed, demanded perfect performances. It demanded reliability, but it also created an environment where addiction thrives. The stress, the pressure, the need to escape reality. All of these factors contributed to addiction among these talented performers. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, there is help available. Addiction is not a moral failing. It is disease. It requires treatment and support. If you are struggling, reach out. Call SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-4357. It is free and confidential and available 24/7. Recovery is possible. Life can get better. These 25 actors remind us that addiction can happen to anyone, no matter how successful or talented they are. It does not discriminate. It does not care about your wealth or your fame, but recovery is possible if you are willing to fight for it. If you found this video helpful, like and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear these stories. Together, we can break the stigma around addiction and encourage people to seek help. See you in the next one.